This quick tutorial will show you the basics of creating scrolling textures. The method here can be used in various ways for many different effects, but we will just be creating some scrolling text for this. In Blender, add a cylinder. Now scale it roughly to the size and shape we want our text to be. You can rescale the total size once in Sansar. Let's apply smooth shading so we don't see the faces as much. Auto Smooth will work for this. Tab into Edit mode and delete the top and bottom faces. They are not needed in this case. Create an image of your words with a transparent background. This can be anything you want. I've added black just so we can see the letters, but the final image needs to be transparent. Make sure to have a small gap at the end of your image for when the text repeats. Back in Blender with our object selected, add a material slot. At the top, open the Shading tab. Now add an image texture node to the BSDF, and connect up both the color and the alpha channels. Open and select our text image we created, and add it to the node. In the Materials viewport display, change the blend mode to alpha clip, just so we can see what we are doing. We now need to align the UV to match up with our texture. At the top, go to the UV editing window and select all our mesh in edit mode. Change our UV display image to the texture we added, making sure to select the correct one. Align the UV with the text on the texture image so it shows correctly on our mesh. Make sure each side of the UV is exactly matching with the UV space, as this can affect how the image repeats. You can check how this looks by moving your UV island sideways, but make sure to return it to the original position. The mesh is ready to be exported as a FBX. Make sure its transforms are applied before you do this and the object is selected. As we set some simple nodes up, Sansar can automatically import the texture we added if we change the path mode to match. Be sure you are exporting only the object you require by using the Selected Objects tick box. In Edit mode of Sansar, at the top Import Objects, select our FBX file we just created and hit Import. This is where you could add collision if required. As we are able to edit materials later, we will set them up once imported. Once the item is added to inventory, drag it out into the scene. It should have the texture on it we added in Blender, but will more than likely need setting up. Right-click and open up the Materials Editor panel. If your texture is not already on the mesh, add it to the albedo slot. If we just want static text, we can use any of the shaders that allow alpha. We can also add any other maps we require, like roughness, metal, normal, etc. If you want to make the text glow, choose a shader with emissive, and if you want your text to animate, a shader that supports UV animation. Choose the lightest shader for what you want to do is the best practice to keep your scenes optimized. For scrolling text, I will pick the two-sided plus alpha plus UV animation. Near the bottom of the shader settings, we can set the scroll rate and direction. X moves the texture side to side on our UV and Y moves it up and down. If you use both, it will scroll it diagonally. For glowing, the standard two-sided plus emissive plus UV animation does not support alpha, so we will need to use the other two-sided emissive plus UV animation. The downside is we do not have some of the maps you may need, like roughness, metal and normal, so it's a trade-off for what you want to do. We are able to set things like glow intensity and other various settings that can create cool effects. Scrolling down to the bottom, we are able to tint the color of our texture. If we used a white base, this will match up. Finally, save our settings, and thank you for watching.